shoot, I said that you claim it. Instant Xbox, spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talker, no riddling, moonwalker, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much make it a portrait. Gun kick back, not grannies from porches. David on the scene, you know that it's scorching. What's a man with king? No response to the saying, advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot, what said that you claim?
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
Peace and blessings, and welcome back to Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. Now, keeping in line with the whole interviews that I be talking about on this channel, we're going to get into Asha Sharma, CEO at Xbox. The second interview, this one brought to you by Fortune, and the interviewer is Ali Garfunkel. Now, if this is your first time finding the channel, well, I appreciate you being here, but this goes up for members at least 72 to 78 hours ahead of time. And I salute you, members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. For subs, this video will go up to you guys after that period of time. And please take the time out to like, follow, share, and hopefully become a member as we give deep dives into the Xbox's industry finest. Soon to come, Matthew Ball. But this is after the Xbox Showcase this June. I hope you got a chance to see part one. Now, let's get into part two of the Asha Sharma interviews.
So I want to ask a question of all of you really fast. Who here plays video games? Raise your hand.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot. More than you were expecting? Less than you were expecting?
You know, a couple weeks ago, I would have said more than I was expecting, but the study just came out and said 70% of Americans play 1 hour of video games every single week.
Which, you know, per this room, it actually might be more than 70%, as it turns out. You know, Asha, you took on this.
That's kind of low. I know a lot of people that play way more than that, but 70% of Americans, yeah, okay, cool with that.
Job a few months ago. You were not historically a gamer. What was the first game you ever played on an Xbox?
Oh gosh. Well, the first game I ever played that in memory, I'm not a gamer, but kind of casually grew up with Star Fox and you know, hockey and Sonic, and then I think the first game I played on an Xbox was Halo.
It was on Halo. It was Halo.
That actually burns. Star Fox, hockey, Sonic, and then Halo. Could you imagine getting to be the boss over at Xbox and the game that you first played on Xbox will now be played on PlayStation? Sheesh.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. There are some Halo fans out here. You know, over the last few years, Xbox's future has never been more in question. You just had your first showcase as CEO. How do you feel?
Oh, it was incredible. So Showcase is our annual game show where we show off the trailers and the lineups that come. We had more than 25 creators that showed up to do it. And honestly, it's one thing to watch it, it's one thing to hear about it, but it's another thing to feel it.
She was definitely there. I can attest to it, you know, during FanFest, soaking up the floor where everybody was, having the FanFest people there, also having the media there, living in the ambiance of what that moment feels like is exhilarating, and getting a chance to see live visceral reactions, I can understand is palpable. So it was good seeing her see that and understand that. So yeah, I'm very interested in her thoughts about it because I didn't get a chance to talk to her after the fact.
Our fans that have committed 25 years to Xbox, and to see their excitement and to feel the energy for the next 25 years was pretty special.
What did you want that showcase to telegraph about Xbox's future?
When I took the role about 100 days ago, I talked about my first 100 days was about listening and learning and really understanding what makes Xbox Xbox. And so I made 3 commitments along the way. I wanted to preserve great games. I wanted to be about the return of Xbox, and I wanted to talk about the future of play. And so
Preserve great games, talk about the future of Xbox, and get back to the essence of Xbox. I guess preserving great games is in line with the previous regime, with the whole back compatibility, that initiative that started with Sarah Bond saying that they're preserving Xbox games, past, present, and future. So those are in lockstep, and I think she understands the assignment. I want to hear more.
it was only fitting that my first showcase we got to really do that, and we had a lot of great games. We had the return of Xbox with the reintroduction of 2 new exclusives, as well as a new special edition 25th anniversary console, and it was just
That made a lot of sense. I know a lot of this stuff was set in place before her, because this stuff is planned out years in advance. But the exclusive stuff, I believe that's her. I'm going to attribute that to her and her team. And getting Gears E-Day exclusive to the Xbox console, and getting Clockwork Revolution exclusive, while also showing off the new console that you will be selling this year. I expect them to have 3 to 5 million available in time for Grand Theft Auto 6 in November, while also giving every fan member, fan fest participant that was there, an Xbox console. This is incredible.
such a wonderful environment to bring everybody together.
Now, one thing about your tenure is that you have killed a lot of things fast. The This is an Xbox campaign, Copilot. It seems like the mobile store might be in flux. What's the pattern?
I did not expect this question. She's going to directly answer the question that we want the answers to. And what's up with the mobile store? Remember, all this is Sarah Bond.
Look, I think that clarity is kindness. And so as I'm learning, I'm trying to be decisive about the things that we need to invest in, the things we need to prioritize, and the things that don't represent our brand. And we're doing that as fast as we can. There's still seams in that as we go, but it's starting to really create a direction for the team to understand the principles in which we stand for, how we make decisions, to really have all of them go follow that same path.
Now, this wasn't something you killed, but it was a cut. You did drop prices on Game Pass, longtime Xbox pillar. What?
This one is on it. She's on it. Garfunkel's on it. Yeah, she's on it.
Went into that decision?
Look, I think Game Pass is at the heart of gaming. It's the way that players can access a lot of catalogs, day one content, great experiences with us, and we had
I like that day one content. I like day one content. I hope you guys are listening.
raised the prices 50% last year, and we were on the path to seeing a decay in subscribers, and so it had just simply become too unaffordable. And so
that's crazy, because she said it became too unaffordable, and she saw them losing subscribers. This is gold right here, folks.
We adjusted the price for players and the offering as we went through with that. And we're starting to see a return to growth. We're starting to see more subscribers. We're starting to see, more importantly, better retention. And we've got more work to do. So
they're starting to see more growth. They're starting to see more better retention when it comes to Game Pass subscribers after the reduction in cost. I want to know what the metrics is with Call of Duty not being inside Game Pass.
We'll be doing more this summer in order to create more flexible offerings to meet all the types of players that we have, and we'll continue to iterate on that.
So expect this summer for Game Pass to change. You just heard it here. Game Pass will change sometime this summer.
Now, who here considers themselves an Xbox fan? Raise your hand. Okay. So there's some very enthusiastic hands out there. You, like me, maybe have been on Xbox Reddit recently then, where people are saying things like, when do we put up the statue of Asha?
Oh, gosh.
There's definitely
I'm pretty sure that there were some FanFest people that actually made a statue already.
a sense you've turned the narrative around on Xbox. But what has truly changed in these first few months, and what still needs to evolve?
Look, I think that I've had the opportunity to take a look at everything with fresh eyes, and the team is putting a lot of wins on the board, starting with our players. We have one of our operating principles is that we earn every single player, and so we've shipped more in the last few months on our platform.
And earn every single player. I can honestly understand exactly what she's talking about because I saw it firsthand in at FanFest. The things that they were doing in order to get greater retainership when it comes to the fan base and the core individuals.
Than we have in the last year. We've been able to see a return to growth on Game Pass. We had some great games. Forza was absolutely crushing it. And I think that momentum is really contagious. And we're starting to really go back to some of the core principles that made Xbox great.
A return to Xbox core principles, exclusives, being aggressive, being agile, trimming the fat. We will all get into all of that stuff.
Same time, we know that the industry at large is going through a lot of headwinds. It pulled a lot of demand forward during COVID, and it hasn't really been able to reaccelerate. There's compression happening at almost every level of the stack, and there's a new generation that plays very differently than the core generation. And so we've had a great 100 days. We've begun to revive Xbox, and the next 100 days is about resetting Xbox.
Now, if you remember the video that I did before this, highlighting the first interview that she did with Bloomberg Tech, this interview here at Fortune is focusing on after the showcase. So we're getting to understand what she means when she says post-showcase information.
To that end, the narrative has shifted, but the numbers are tough. Gaming revenue down, but hardware revenue down 33%. You've previously said you can't raise prices through the crisis, but you also have memory storage shortages to contend with, and they are driving up prices across the industry. How do you think about balancing that, and does that limit growth potential for consoles?
Yeah, look, it's going to, in all of these spaces, there are no silver bullets. So we will have patience, and we will execute in days, but expect that it will take a while to show up on the scoreboard.
She doesn't have a true answer to this, so that was kind of a fluff answer to a hard question with hard numbers and hard facts. I get it. You can't raise prices during this crisis because when you did, everything stopped. And lowering prices at the detriment of your course, it doesn't help you. So they're pretty much stuck.
Hardware, we are in a crisis right now. The entire industry is. There's a shortage of memory and storage, and the costs are exponential. They are usually at this point in the generation about 50% of the cost, and we're seeing they're up 2.75x. They're up 50% since I started. They're going to be up effectively 7.5x. And so, yes, pricing is a lever, of course. But we must think about other options as well. We must think about other ways to think about the cost construction of the console. We must think about how we create different plans so more people can participate in the console.
With that being said, different plans. Now, from what I'm hearing, the cell phone business model is an option. But again, that will have to facilitate the need to have actual stores in which you go and you set up your plan. Or maybe it's a plan that you do direct through shipper through Xbox, whereas you sign up and you get that done. I believe that it's possible. I've always thought that we will head down that road anyway. Xbox tried that in the past. Who's to say that they don't revisit it now when it comes to subscriptions? I honestly believe it could be done.
We must think about partnerships that will allow us to have better distribution and reach. And we must think about the experiences that we're creating outside of that as well to reach new audiences.
And I believe that the distribution partners that they did pair up with was inferior to what PlayStation had in place. Honestly, I don't know how you launch in just 15 countries while PlayStation launched in 42, well, states. It's saddening to see that strategy was taken. Well, with Matthew Ball there, I believe that the strategy will be different.
What are some things you're considering that you would never imagined would be the case 5 years ago, or that Xbox would have never imagined would be the case 5 years ago?
Hard to tell because I wasn't there, but I think that we will continue to look at new business models. I think is what is needed for console, rather than just the most premium high performance console in the world. I think we've reached a point where it will be hard to imagine that mass audiences can afford thousands of dollars to spend on a console generation. And so I think we will start to see radically different business models that we never expected start to come into orbit later this year.
Okay, so what you just saw was, again, my talking points where consoles have reached the tipping point of cell phones where $1,000 machines can still be affordable to the masses through a program in which you pay as you go and then you own the console at a period of time. Something like $24 a month or $50 a month or whatever it may be. And it will become bundled with Game Pass. You have to look at it this way: it's a win-win. So with every console sold, everyone has Game Pass, everyone is locked in, and that ensures a level of retainership going forward, like cell phones.
One of the things that I think is really interesting about the business moment you're in is through the prism of something like Project Helix. It's expected to be a top-tier premium offering. There is definitely interest in it, but previously Xbox executives have recently said that it's going to be hard to meet demand.
I love the fact that she attacked the Project Helix question, and I can't wait to title this video.
How do you sort of balance that?
Yeah, well, we're having a hard time now. There's more demand than there is supply for our Gen 9 console. And I suspect the same will be there with our Gen 10 console.
Good spin. Good spin. You're not ready to talk about Project Helix. You're not ready to talk about the demand internally, externally. So you will rather keep the focus on Generation 9, understanding that you have a console coming later on this year in the form of the Xbox Series X 25. Yeah, smart move.
Excited about it. It's a console that's also going to allow you to play your PC games. It's going to have backwards compatibility. It's going to have leading end performance. But there's material work to do to make sure that it is available to the people that want to play. And so
I love the fact that she tells you that it's going to be able to play your PC games. It's going to be able to do all the stuff that they said. Don't worry, people. The marketplaces will still be there. The same way your Asus ROG Ally X is able to do this, Asus ROG Ally, Asus Xbox ROG Ally. Understand that the same thing will be for the Project Helix.
We're working on that.
To this end, you have warned about a coming crash in consumer electronics. What does that look like in gaming and beyond?
Look, I think it's pretty interesting because if you think back, gaming was really the proving ground for compute and AI. So it's pretty interesting that now 25 years later, with the AI infrastructure happening, that we are in this position. But I actually see it as great that every industry now gets to benefit from advances in computation. And so for us, I think that we have to think very differently about storage and memory going forward. We will have to apply new techniques so that we can compress that. We will have to empower customers to have very flexible storage offerings. We will have to empower new types of games so they can fit on device. And so there's going to be a lot of innovation. This will take years, not days, not weeks, but we'll go through it together with the community.
Expect a lot of your stuff to be streaming off cloud. Expect a lot of your memory that you'll be able to buy a la the PlayStation 5, in which you're able to expand your memory. Instead of having proprietary memory software storage solutions, I think they're going to use a broadband spectrum of storage solutions, in which is a greater benefit to the consumer.
Now we're going to turn to the audience for questions soon. One thing I've been very interested in is the question of exclusivity. Previous Xbox leaders took exclusivity off the table. It seems like after Showcase, it's back on. Clockwork Revolution and Gears of War E-Day, both exclusives. What led to the pivot?
I'm glad that she asked that question because, again, everybody was talking about exclusives. I being one, that was one of the things that was top on my list. I don't care what anybody else says. That's your problem, not my problem. I want the brand to be healthy. And if you don't make people come to the brand, well, then what are you actually doing, right? Honestly.
Look, I think that we are the number 2 publisher in the world, and when you do that, you want your games to be everywhere. You're stronger when the world plays with you. At the same time, we are increasingly becoming more of a platform, and it's hard to find examples of platforms out there that don't have exclusive services and content. And so this is a journey for us. Our business isn't particularly healthy, as you noted. And so we're starting by introducing 1 to 2 signature exclusives. And as the business is healthy, we will look to try and do more.
Okay, so that goes to answer your questions. As the business starts to stabilize and the measures that they start taking in place, you'll start to see them pulling back more and more titles away from competitor places. But at this moment, they're the number 2 publisher in the world. And like she said, when the world plays all of your games, well, then you absolutely win. I do believe that Activision games will be for the streets. I do believe that certain Bethesda and ZeniMax games will be for the streets. A lot of those other studios, those ancillary studios that they purchase on the outside, like Ninja Theory and such, will hopefully be kept in-house, and in all strategic Xbox studios like Coalition and such will be kept in-house. That's what I gather.
Questions for Asha from the audience? Oh, we have a lot of hands. Okay. Hello, in the front here. Your name and who you're with. Oh, we have so many questions for you.
Hi, Kathy Hackle, CEO of Future Dynamics. I've got a question for you around world models and kind of the role that gaming plays. You've got, for example, Roblox introducing Roblox Reality, going into video world models. How is Xbox going to start to use the infrastructure of gaming to power the future of AI?
Yeah, great question. So just in terms of a priority set for me, I'm very much focused on core before more. At the same time, kind of going back to what I said, AI has always been part of gaming, right? The GPU wasn't invented for researchers to train neural nets. It was invented for, better spaceships and dragons and better frame rates. And so in many ways, I think that gaming will continue to lead the way on a lot of this technology. Coming from the AI world before this, a bit of a different point of view. I don't believe world models will replace AAA games. I believe that AI can certainly invent a new genre of games, but they're just going to be different. If you think about GitHub Copilot or Codex or Claude Code, you can maybe single shot a vampire survivor game because the parameters are pretty defined and understood. But when it comes to economies and matchmaking and social dynamics, this is a systems problem, not a content problem. And in my first 100 days, I've really come to appreciate the depth and the complexity of art. And so I think AI will be really important in production pipelines and prototyping and things like that. I think it will be really important for new forms of content that come up. But I don't necessarily see world models being the replacement for 50 to 80 hours of gameplay in a really complex universe that gets created in AAA.
All right, so that was a mouthful, pause, in the sense that what she's explaining is games like Roblox and stuff like that that have world building technology in which you dive into the world and you create what you want to create. Those are not AAA experiences. Those are experiences that are made by the player for the player, about the player. But at the end of the day, what she's talking about is story driven narrative games, games that are actually driven by the developer, curated masterfully with a AAA experience, large budgets, directed scenes, stuff like that, and then core gameplay that actually keeps you enthused and keeps you interactive. So those will never ever be supplanted by artificial intelligence. She said that there's a possibility that artificial intelligence can do something like a Vampire Survivor because the parameters are so defined. So when you put the prompts in, it can probably generate something that of equal quality. But when she's looking at something like Halo Combat Evolve or Halo Campaign Evolve, she doesn't see AI facilitating any title that is close to that type of fidelity or type of gameplay grandeur at all.
A quick follow, AI slop in gaming, how do you keep it off your platform?
I think we just have to be really principled. I think there's this misnomers that gamers, the gaming industry hates AI. I actually believe that's absolutely not true. I think that they have demanded the industry to push computation forward. They've always been at the frontier. Real-time networking, online infrastructure. It's all started with gaming. And I think that because of that, they're just very protective of adding technology for technology's sake. We have to solve a problem. And so anything that we will do will be to solve a problem, to solve a developer problem, to solve a player problem, not to just paint it all over the experience.
Well, she's talking about from them itself. I think the questioner, well, the interviewer was asking, how do you keep AI slop off the platform as far as your storefront? You know, because Xbox is a large storefront where third-party titles actually come onto the platform. And how do you police that?
Other questions for Asha? Oh man, we have so many hands.
Okay.
All right, we have a question right over here.
Ask him.
Hello, your name and who you're with.
I'm Asher and I'm with my dad. When you were a kid, what were you building or obsessed with, and did you see yourself being a CEO of a large company?
Great question, Asher. When I was a kid, honestly, I never obsessed on what I wanted to be when I grew up. I only obsessed on what I wanted to do, whether it was selling coupon books or, you know, putting on concerts so I could raise money, so I could have my lunch money, whether it was, you know, being the best at taking out the trash at the park that I worked at. I just tried to obsess on being great at what I was doing so I could earn the next job. And
that tells a lot about her character. Like I said, her obsession with being the best is going to be her main driving vehicle when it comes to excelling at the CEO position over at Xbox.
I think it's really special to be the CEO of Xbox. It's beyond my wildest dreams.
Other questions? We have time for one more. Maybe we have time for one
Hey,
more.
Asha, Stephen Wolf Pereira from Alpha Governance Group. I'm so curious, you spoke about makers over managers, and obviously the creator economy is so important. How do you view creators as a part of your strategy going forward?
Great question. I think they're incredibly important part of our strategy. I think that, you know, the way I think about it is we've got incredible studios that are in-house and they need to be our first customer so we can rapidly iterate. We've got an incredible platform of third-party developers. And the next generation of creators, I envision a world where Xbox is where the world plays and creates. Increasingly, we're seeing that players want to participate. And so we need to open up our platform and have the tools for, you know, customization and extensions and all of those things, and maybe even in game creation as well, amateur game creation. So I think there's a ton of opportunity. If you look at kind of gaming akin to entertainment, the top two box office hits right now are from YouTubers. And so I think that this is a special space. I think the more types of creations will bring more types of players.
We actually
That was a great answer to the question as far as it goes with developers and stuff like that. Very smart, especially bringing up box office and YouTubers and content creators in that space, understanding that creativity and the human element is always necessary.
have time for one more. Hand back there.
Hi, I'm Tarun Chandrasekhar, CPO Syndigo. So you have 50 million plus active devices running Xbox today with increasingly better silicon, right? A lot of the framework we've had so far is about how does AI get into gaming. But my question is, how does Xbox get into AI? You have edge computing, you have Microsoft building the largest AI infrastructure. And if I was to expand the idea of gaming, this is the biggest time we're thinking where, when we were 30 years ago, we were all building PCs and starting to write our own code and writing our own learning programming. It's that world today when it comes to local inferences, right? I can tell you a number of us here have probably gone and built a new RTX 5090 box, not to game, but to actually run a local Gemma 14 billion parameter. Are there any plans to expand the scope of what you would call entertainment or growing gaming to actually allow for that next generation of AI development that becomes more and more edge compute?
So would they be able to debug the next Xbox in order to use the AI that is inherently going to be available at system level? Because right now you could take your current Xbox Series consoles and turn them into debug units in which you're able to have development units. So are you able to, in turn, take that console, whatever Project Helix turns out to be, and we know it's going to have some form of AI in it, will you be able to take that console and in turn open it up to the whole AI infrastructure and use it as a debug unit, a developer unit, and work with the AI within the box? I want to know where this goes.
Yeah, so great question. This is definitely not our Allbirds moment where we're going to turn Xbox.ai.
Good deflection there, letting you know that this is not an all birds moment. This is a special moment here, and she's going to try to answer it in a nuanced way that doesn't pin Xbox in the whole AI conversation.
Look, that said, I think you could certainly locally inference today with the GPUs on an Xbox, and developers can do that if they so choose. I think my focus right now has to be on winning the core of gaming. And if that so means that the game developers and gamers want to locally inference, we'll make that available. That hasn't been the top ask, especially with a number of other devices that are on the market, a number of the other innovation that Microsoft is making available. But we are, we're part of Microsoft. And so should that need arise, we'll take a look at it.
We have the ability, we have the capabilities. There's not a demand right now. She's a task-driven individual, one task at a time, and she gets to that task as quickly and as efficiently as possible as she moves forward. But the moment that it calls for it, they do have the capabilities to spin that block.
As we wrap up this conversation, I should tell you, as I was preparing for this interview, I talked a lot to my friend Ryan, who's a very serious gamer, owns 6 Xboxes. And he pointed out to me, 25th anniversary, coming up in November, and gaming is so identity driven. Mm-hmm. So what does it mean to be, as opposed to a PlayStation player or a Nintendo gamer, what does it mean to be an Xbox gamer today?
Look, I'm still getting to know our community. It's vast and it's really special. But the thing that I've really come to appreciate about Xbox in my first 100 days is it's always been a bit different. The players and the teams have always dared to do something no one else did. They put an Ethernet on the Xbox before anyone believed in online gaming. We launched Xbox Live before people understood social. And they are really rooting for each other and have come to the table to help each other through good times and hard times. And I think that's incredible and unbeatable. Good
answer. Good answer going to core Xbox tenants. Good answer.
Asha, thank you so much.
So now with the second interview down, and this was brought to you by Fortune, I honestly got a little bit more of an understanding, whereas some questions was asked in the Bloomberg interview. Now a larger, more robust question, a Q&A happened with Fortune, especially after the show. And in seeing so after the show, we also realized that the internal memo went out to all Xbox staff as far as layoffs go. The restructuring of Xbox, the rebranding, the rebuilding of a sick franchise is in the hands of somebody that is task driven, realizing that she won't move on to the next task until one task is completed, and she moves so quickly and efficiently in getting to that task. I gotta salute. I gotta say, she's handled her first 100 days with style and grace, but with swift efficiency. With knowing that that memo was coming out and Jason Schreier had got his hands on it, she got ahead of it. She will always be 2 steps ahead of you, always daring for greatness and achieving it. A hell of a chess player. I honestly would have wanted to ask her the question. Being the number 2 publisher, and this would have been my question had I got a chance to really talk to her. Being the number 2 publisher in the world, your reliance on an install base of 90 plus million shipped consoles in the PlayStation 5. Whereas maybe you don't view them as a direct competitor, but a lot of the fan base does. How do you tread the line with being superior without totally crushing their ecosystem? And that would have been my question. You see, I know what I want, but what I want is not what Xbox wants. They want to reach those 90 million shipped consoles where I would starve them out. But they found a way to make a nice balance between Game Pass and exclusives. Let's see how far they go. Let's see what happens. Well, this is Xbox Frontline News, and I appreciate each and every last one of you members that got a chance to get this early. Like I said, 72 to 78 hours ahead of time. And for the subs that get a chance to watch this, like, follow, share it out, and become a member. I do this all the time. I do this because I love the brand. I love the community. And I really love Game Pass. But I want you to do what I'm about to do, what you should be doing. I want you to go with game is game and win is win. And I want you to try to play the Game Pass.
Before you get into an argument, remember this quote. A bee does not waste its energy trying to convince a fly that honey is better than shit. Some minds are not meant to be changed. Save your energy for what actually matters.